Hey, did y'all see this video? It's kind of a banger. If you guys don't know about Elestrals yet, you're getting into the game. These are 3 lists you can play at your locals. You can play on Elestrals Clash. If you want to get into it, if you want to see them in action, check out this video. Kind of a banger. Not too long ago, Elestrals finally detailed what Dazed and Enraged do in the game of Elestrals. And I can now confidently say, Earth's best deck. Again. Remember, if you want to pre-order Lifestream, use my link in the description and use my code if you choose to buy gems on Elestrals Clash. It costs you nothing and supports the channel. Thank you very much. Let's talk about what Dazed and Enraged is all about, because man, this stuff is sick. So Dazed is very simple. If you are dazed, you cannot attack. There's no other caveat, there's nothing else it does. It doesn't force you into defense, it doesn't make you expend another spirit. No, Dazed says you cannot attack. What it is. Now I actually thought it might go with a coin flip because in the new coin box that you can get from Elestrals, there is something that says heads or tails. So I thought it would be like you could maybe attack, similar to Confusion in Pokemon trading card game, but no, it's simply you cannot attack. I love it, make it flat, know what it's going to do, and you can play with or around it. Don't have to flip a coin because my luck is horrid. Enrage is kind of crazy. We'll talk about these cards in a little bit, but I'll go into the mechanic. Enrage says that they must attack, and enraged Elestrals are forced into attack. Forced into attack. So now, Tsunami doesn't work on enraged Elestrals. Ultra of Stars does not work on enraged Elestrals. There may be a counter room to enrage an Elestral in the future. You may have Argo. Well, we'll get into that in due time, but there's so many ways you can play around with this mechanic. But it's so nice having a mechanical way to deal around arguably one of the strongest counter runes in the game. Tsunami can blank an entire battle phase of Elestrals that aren't water enchanted, and now we have a way to play around that. I think Enraged is a really cool mechanic along with Dazed, and these cards that are being introduced in Lifestream, specifically under Dionysus, insane. Dionysus was such a wild card of a divine to be introducing in Lifestream because no one knew what Dazed or Enraged does. Now that we know, this is arguably the best divine ever. It's up there. It is top 3 at least. Dionysus allows you to disenchant an earth to target an Elestral and daze it or enrage it until your next turn, meaning that it will still be enraged or dazed on your opponent's turn, similar to Artemis's effect with suppression. You can also enchant an additional 3 earth onto it as you can with any other divine, except the Yolas, who has to be special. With what this divine does, it is going to be a 3 of at least in any deck that's going to be utilizing Dazed or Enrage, or just wants to have a way to counter runes such as Ultra Stars or Tsunami if you don't have a water deck. If you have a water deck, you probably don't even need this, but it's something you can consider no matter what. Dionysus has a plethora of runes at his disposal, the first one being the Thyrsus of Dionysus. This is a +2 attack artifact rune to any Elestral it is empowering, and when Dionysus is enchanted and the empowered Elestral declares an attack, you can draw a card. So you get a little bonus for playing this in archetype, but the main thing is that Thyrsus of Dionysus enrages the empowered Elestral. So you declare an attack, your opponent goes for Ultra Stars. After they switch your Elestral to defense, you trigger your Argo. You cast out Thyrsus, and then you empower your now defense Elestral to put it back to attack and allowing you to attack once again. This card is going to see tech play, absolutely. This may replace Scyther Demeter, and Scyther Demeter gets +2/+3. It may replace that. It is a really good card that everyone should have the eye out for. Nectar of the Gods, Dionysus' Chalice. Now this card is kind of nice. You can only play it if you're playing Dionysus, so another bonus for playing in Divine, you know, in your Pantheon. You can only be cast if Dionysus is enchanted. You discard an earth card and draw 3 cards. There are a lot of earth cards that do not mind going to the underworld. You may have an extra Cedar Sword in your hand if you're playing with a Paleoth list. There are so many applications to just discarding an Earth card, and Earth is kind of plentiful in terms of good Elestrals you want to, or good cards you want to have in your hand. Being able to discard one to draw 3, oh no, I have an extra bloom. Wait, I can make use of it in my hand. Stuff like that, you know, not to mention it only costs you 1 spirit. Yes, this is a card you're gonna want to have to play, I would say play 3 of, really. Depending on your list, if you can, being able to go up 3 cards immediately and maybe set up for an Underworld play, Dionysus Chalice is gonna be real nice. Dionysus Madness is going to be an insane counter rule, and the best effect is not locked to having Dionysus Enchanted. On a 1-cost Earth counter rune, you can target an Elestral and Daze or Enrage it. So you have a card you need to protect. On your opponent's turn, you activate, as soon as they enter battle phase, you flip Dionysus Madness, you target an Elestral, it is Dazed, it cannot attack. So it's a really good counter to an opening turn 1 play, such as PTA and what, you know, PTA, you get hurt, it's like, all right, I have a way to come back from that. Dionysus Madness is a really nice juxtaposition to what PTA does. If Dionysus is enchanted, not only can you change the position of that Elestral, but you can enchant an Earth from your underworld to your field. So another way to utilize Bloom, being able to next on the field and enchant another card. I love what Earth is doing, being able to just recover their spirits back to the field, continuously blooming and growing their flowers. I love that play style of them, so keep that up, A-Drive. But this card is going to be really nice just for the first effect alone, being able to change the position as well, which, you know, if you were enraging it, is going to go to attack by game mechanics. But still, and also enchanting from Underworld means that this Dionysus Madness was essentially free. Essentially, it's such a good card, especially if you play it in Dionysus. Keep an eye out for Dionysus Madness. Poison Nectar Dionysus Chalice will also be a main deck play. This one may get played at 2, maybe 1, but it is searchable. It is searchable thanks to it being a Poison Nectar, so the new Cyan Nectar does search this. But if Dionysus is enchanted, your opponent discards a card and burns for 2. So your opponent who held on to their ambrosia at the last second, they had 2 spirits in deck and they paid 1 for ambrosia, you activate Poison Nectar Dionysus Chalice and they lose the last 2 they lost in the middle of the chain. This card will be catching people off guard. It's gonna be at least 2 in Dionysus' list. Keep an eye out for it. Not only are the Dionysus named cards also cracked, but the cards that Dionysus supports are also going to flesh out a really potent deck. One of the ones you'll see in any list that is utilizing Dionysus is Cyprong, Champion of Dionysus. The card that's going to be a top 16 victory card at Kissimmee in Florida. So if you guys haven't signed up for that yet, this is not even sponsored, but at the same time, use my link. Go on and register and try to win your top 16, because this card is going to be crazy. Being able to flex a 1 of 16 at your locals will get everybody jealous at you. When you normal cast as Cyprong, you can search for Dionysus and add it to your hand. You can search the Divine with this 4/4 body. That alone should tell you that you're going to want to play this in any Dionysus list. Then you can target and destroy a 1 or 2 Spirit Elestral with 5 or more attack if Cyprong is dazed. So you give up the attack of Cyprong that turn, destroy a 1 or 2 cost Elestral with 5 attack. Your Viserys, your opponent's the Viserys that they were just swarming out there, gone. Specterus, oddly enough, does not die. Does not die. Champ Galaxy does not die. Base Galaxy does die. Lumeru dies, and then guess what? If you put up for Lloyd 4s with this thing, you're dealing with a 5/5 body, so your opponent can't even run over with another 5 on the next turn. This is a 3 of. Easy. Easy 3 of. Drataya, Champion of Dionysus, is a 1-card combo. Card is crazy. When it receives an Earth, either in a Nexus or on its cast, target an Elestral on field and either Daze or Enrage it. And you're gonna wanna Enrage Drataya, because when it is enraged, you can special ascend that Drataya to a Lotagon from your deck or hand or deck, and enrage that Lotagon until your next turn or the next turn. So your opponent's turn is no longer enraged. But this card is crazy because not only can you bring out base Latagon, which lets you, I believe, destroy a card in the field if you play Ambrosia or Golden Apple of Discord. So just another way to get that go, because you could retire into base Latagon. But you're probably gonna want to go into new Latagon, Champion of Dionysus. This is an 8/5 body that is cast out by the 1-card combo Enraged that says you can target and destroy a face down rune if Latagon is enraged. So you do this turn 2, your turn 1, you enrage it, you cast out Latagon, you destroy the face down. Oh man, that was shield. Or oh no, it was tsunami. That wasn't doing anything anyway. PTA, go on and spend it. Take that extra damage. I'm still gonna destroy. And guess what? When this Latagon is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can search your deck for an Ambrosia and add it to hand. Ambrosia Searcher, so now you can actually make base Latagon real. You could play Latagon, Champion of Dionysus, as your first play, and your second play, the second retire can go into the base Latagon, heal up for 3, destroy another card. I honestly just thought of that right now. That is insane and might be a deck worth trying in and of itself. I mentioned this earlier. New Sire Nectar can search out PTA, the Poison Nectar, including the Poison Nectar from Dionysus' Chalice, and add it to your hand. There's a lot of things you can use with Sire Nectar right now. This is also a full 1 body. When you cast a Sire Nectar or it becomes Dazed, you can search your deck for a Poison Tip Arrow, Poison Nectar, or Poison Tunic and add it to the hand. And remember, title cards still count as the cards listed here. So Poison Nectar, Dionysus' Chalice, yeah, this can be searched by the new Sire Nectar. Now, searching PTA, turn 1, really good. 4/1 body on top of that, really good. But this Sire Nectar cannot ascend to Waspivy when one of the poison cards is utilized. So you may want to use base Sire Nectar in your list as well, which I don't see a reason why you don't want to play 3 and 3. You absolutely could make a list where you play in 3 and 3, where the base Sire Nectar from False Fall says that when a player casts a Poison Tip Arrow, Poison Nectar, or Poison Tunic, you can special ascend the Sire Nectar to Waspivy. Now, you could choose base Waspivy. It's very good. When it ascends from a Waspivy, it is immune to counter runes. When it is destroyed in battle, your opponent has to expend 3. Or you could go to Waspivy, Champion of Dionysus. This is a 9/1 body. So we're on Kiribis levels of a power and even more vicious in terms of damage. This no matter how you get this on the field, as long as it's on the field, it deals piercing damage, which means that if your opponent's Elestrals in defense, you still do damage calculation. It doesn't have to just be an attack. Crazy, but wait. If it is enraged, so you do Dionysus to enrage it or however other method, it deals double damage. But wait, there's more. If Waspivy is ascended from a Sire Nectar, which is what base Sire Nectar allows you to do, it is enraged. Meaning that attack cannot be stopped. You cannot switch it to defense, you cannot tsunami it, you could shield it. It is not immune to counter rune, which is why you may want to consider both of them. But hey, now you have options. And if you know me, options are a good thing to have. This Waspivy can be a crazy game ender. Watch out for it. Now this package is the one I'm most interested in. This is also the package that I don't think is going to be really easy to make work of, just because it all starts with Sprouter, Champion of Dionysus. This card only allows you to Nexus 1 Earth. Only 1. But when you do complete a Nexus, you can search your deck for a Champion of Dionysus or a Dionysus' Madness and add it to your hand. So all those cards you just talked about, every single one, plus the few more we're about to talk about, they can be searched with this Sprouter. So if you're playing Dionysus, you may want to consider this Sprouter, especially since you may want to get a big search out for September. Like, look at this thing. This thing's kind of cool. Now, it doesn't really do anything on its own. It's kind of a means to an end, but a 5/8 body that when it is on the field, your opponent's not going to have an easy time getting it over it. When September Champion of Dionysus receives an Earth, you can target an Elestial on the field and enrage it. Now, no option for dazing here, but you want your opponent's Elestrals to attack, because when your opponent's enraged Elestral declares an attack or any Elestral? No, an opponent's enraged Elestral declares an attack, you can return it to its hand. Pantera, you're enraged, buddy. You seem to need a little chill pill. Go back to your hand. Time out. Time out. Flammoth? Oh no, this has nothing to do with the rune. Back to your hand. Time out. 5/8 bodies, so they gotta get something real hefty out to try to deal with this, unless they do like Galaxy Crash. No, they can't even do that because they would just be in defense. But still, this card is kind of crazy. Now, because there's no easy way right now to like quick ascend into it, the best way you can do so is probably by using Centaur, Champion of Dionysus as well. This card is crazy. First of all, the second effect says you can daze the Centaur into the next turn, your next turn, to special cast a September from your hand, deck, or Underworld. That's right, we have recursion. So utilize this with something like Champion of Demeter Pandison. If you can get both of them on the field, it's possible. None of these require Dionysus to be on field, so there is room for you to use that as a combo, but I digress. The first effect of Centaur Champion of Dionysus says that when the battle phase begins, you can destroy each enraged Elestral on an opponent's field. Destroy them. Just like that. You enrage the entire field, and then when they enter the battle phase, which they will do, there's no skipping phases in Elestrals. When they go to the battle phase with an enraged Elestrals, Centaurs launches the snipes, pop, 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 just takes them all out on a 10-13 body. This card is kind of crazy, but the fact that you can do this and then have September on the side, you can make up a really decent wall. Now, this is not propaganda. I truly believe the panda is the way to go. I do, and here's why. You're gonna wanna get these cards ASAP. Being able to utilize all the ways you can maneuver Earth on the field, Panda is probably the best way to do so. You get spirits on field, and then you have 2 Elestrals that can hold spirits, and you might want to pass it off to Clovey as well, because Clovey can dig you deeper into your deck and allow you to find out the pieces that you need. Find your September. Find your Centaurs. Maybe play suit 2 Centaurs, 1 September, since it can be recurred. Maybe, who knows? But it helps you dig into that while building up the body under something like Phalloid Forest. And if you want to make the Ascension even more viable, consider Bloom. This card is going to be really crazy with all of these cards that want to receive Earth or have more Earth on the field. Bloom may be crazy right now. Demeter gets a bit of support in this set as well, and I'm really excited about that because these cards are, you know what? Let's talk about them one by one. The big package here is Giraflora, Champion of Demeter, and Gigaflora, Champion of Demeter. Giraflora says that you can target a Demeter or Champion Demeter in your Underworld and return it to your hand if this Giraflora was the highest defense in the field. I don't think this card is meant to be played at more than 2. I think the card you really want to take advantage of is Gigaflora, because you can expend an Earth and discard Gigaflora to search your deck for a Champion of Demeter and add it to your hand. That's any Champion of Demeter, including the new Mustachian, which we'll get to in just a second. You can special cast a 1 spirit Champion of Demeter from your Underworld and give it +3 attack until the next turn. Now, why would you want to do that? Yes, you were getting the body back on the field. You're recurring. That's great. You're getting +3 until the next turn. That's great. 5/3 body. That's fantastic. But what is the main goal here? I believe is to support Demeter's Mustachian. This card has me so giddy. Absolutely giddy, and I cannot wait to see what decks I can really make to take advantage of this Mustachian. Has 3 really potent effects. When it declares an attack, you can enchant it with an Earth from your Underworld. Once again, recurring Earth spirits from the Underworld on its mechanic. I love it. If Mustachian has the highest attack on the field, consider cards like Phalloid Forest, because then you make this a 6 after it declares its attack. If it has the highest attack on the field, it deals piercing damage. And then you can also enchant it with another Earth from your Underworld. This is just play Nectar of the Gods, or Dionysus Nectar, but still, just play it, all right? You're gonna get those spirits back. There's no better time to play Nectar of the Gods than with an Earth list in Lifestream. This Mustachian is really potent. piercing, build up damage, recover spirits, allows you to use them for divine blessing and stuff like that. I think this card is kinda neat. Other champions of Demeter that are out there that you may want to consider, this one is from Firestorm. I have the reverse stellar of this one. Pandason, champion of Demeter. You can return up to 2 earth from your underworld to your spirit deck if Demeter is enchanted. So if you're not playing Demeter, you're likely not playing this Pandason. And even if you do, you're only going to play it at 2 because you're not always going to be in a position to take advantage of this. But it is something to consider. Now, Vertilift, champion of Demeter. Now that we have Mustachian out, I understand why you may want this. I still don't think it'll be too great. I don't. But being able to get out a 2-body can be nice. We'll have to see. There's application, but overall, I'm mentioning it because I feel like it should be. You'll probably still want to stay away. There are a lot of free agent Earth cards being introduced in the live stream as well that I want to go over. One of them being the new Barraboss line. Barrabog was introduced in base set. We got Barabib, I believe, in Moonrise. And now in live stream, we're getting the final ascension, Barraboss. Let's go over them. Barabib here says you can Nexus 1 earth or water, and when it receives 1 or more water, you can special ascend it to Barabog from your hand or deck. Now, you don't have to Nexus onto this Barabib if you can play something like Mudslide. This card is actually coming back and it's being kind of nice. Your opponent has to disenchant spirits from each of their runes, just 1 spirit from each of their runes. So all the fire artifact lists that are out there, all the artifacts being utilized, yeah, this card can now have a real good home right now. Regardless, you can use a second effect to enchant either an earth or water onto your field. And look, it's another invoke rune. We'll talk about that in a second. But this card is kind of an expensive way to get Barabib out, but if you're going for the Barraboss line, you might as well play it. Barabib also says you can special send it to a Barabog, not the new Barabog. So you could consider old Barabog. This one came from the Clash Kickstarter. I love this artwork. But when your opponent casts any card without earth or water, they have to expend an extra spirit. So if you want to slow your opponent down, this is something you can consider. And I think if you're going for the Barraboss line, you do want to play at least 1 of this base Barabog. You can also utilize the base Barabog from Daybreak here as well. This one says when you cast an invoke rune with earth, your opponent must spend a spirit. So if you have Mudslide in your hand as well, you can do the same exact play. It's a different base effect because you can still special ascend with Mudslide Barabib into Barabog, but it's just an alternate win con. It's something you can consider. Regardless though, new Barabog is crazy. You can expend earth and water to target an Elestral and daze it until the next turn. And when it is dazed, you can special ascend it to Barraboss from your hand or deck. So another almost 1-card combo. There's a few ways you can do this. You have Mudslide, you can also do, well, I don't want to spoil too much, we'll get there. But regardless of how you get there, whether with Barabog or, well, I guess only the new Barabog, base Barabog makes you expend. But regardless, you get to Barraboss. Barraboss, I think many people won't enjoy this card. I understand why. I love this card. This card is cool. When this Barabog receives 1 or more earths or water, so when you cast it, you can change it from an Elestral to a Stadium rune with the effect that Elestrals that are not earth or water enchanted are dazed and get -3 attack and defense, and opponents cannot play Stadium runes. Do you understand what that means? Any Elestral that's on the field that is not being played with earth or water cannot attack. This card is a Stadium rune, so that means that you have to go out of your way to play cards like Thunderstorm, and it forces opponents to play Titanic Strike, Champion of Zeus. I believe if Barraboss is going to become meta, it is going to warp the meta around it, and back row removal, such as Thunderstorm, is going to go crazy. Also, Tornado. I'm just saying, I would love to see a Barraboss be spun back to the hand This last card can fit in a lot of Earth lists, but you're likely going to see it in Titan builds. A 3/4 insectoid Elestral means that it is prime target for all the searching you want to do in that list, especially for stuff like Ardbud. When this Haparu deals damage, you can foretell 3 and add an Earth card foretold to your hand. And when Haparu is enchanted with exactly 1 spirit, it can attack your opponent directly. I want you to know, in Battle Step, you can use Full Moon, you can use Bloom to put more spirits on Haparu and deal direct damage equal to the new spirit enchanting the Haparu. It is going to get crazy. You're going to see Werepup and Titan lists just for Full Moon, so that way this is an option. It gives you a search. It gives you an Insectoid that you can discard off of in Titan. It gives you another one you can destroy with Ardvarum. This card is going to go so hard. At least a 2 of in Titan lists. Now, while these cards aren't Earth, they do bring a new dimension to Earth strategies. The new Findus and Hebufin allows you to treat wind spirits that are enchanting cards in your field as Earth as well. So the same wind spirit enchanting is also considered Earth, and it's going to get crazy because of that continuity. A 1/6 body that says that when it receives 2 Earth, you can special cast a Findus or Hebufin. Guess what? When you have wind spirits enchanting your Aeolus and this Findus is on the field, those same wind are going to count as Earth as well. So you nexus 2 off your Aeolus to your Findus and you can special cast out your Hebufin. Now, you could choose Old Hebufin from False Fall. This card isn't terrible. Expend a wind or Earth and switch all Elestrals to defense position, and all defense position Elestrals are suppressed while this card is in attack. So it's not a, you could, or you could go with New Hebufin, 7/4 body. And this card is even more ridiculous. Your Aeolus can now search out Earth Invoke runes. And when you cast an Earth rune, you can target up to 3 spirits in your underworld and either return them to your deck or enchant them to your Aeolus. This card can be activated only twice per turn. This effect will be activated twice per turn. This card is going to define a whole new concept of wind. And if you know me, one of my favorite elements in this game besides Earth is wind. And now I have a way to meld those 2 elements together. Absolutely, I will be exploring this list. And hey, if you're probably wondering, just like me, how do you get 2 Earths onto this Findus? Well, you could do an Ascension over a 2-cost wind, something like that. You could. Or Circle the Sky may be here and ready to make your opponent's life miserable. Now, I know Circle the Sky has been a meme to a good point. Elestrias Season 2, we were utilizing it in the first 3 weeks and then it got shut down immediately. But I actually believe that it might be time for Circle the Sky to finally debut as a premier card in a strategy. You get the Nexus 2 and draw a card on a 1-cost Omni Rune? Consider it. Don't knock it out yet. It might be its time. It might be. But regardless, Hebufin and Findus, Champion of Aeolus, these cards aren't Earth cards, but man, do they feel like it. If you're new to Elestrals, you may not have some of these cards that are available. I would recommend utilizing my link in the description below. Go to Shop Elestrals and pick up one of the new starter decks from Lifestream. They are going to have a lot of these cards, but if you want to consider a secondary market, these are the cards I would prioritize getting first, besides all the other staple cards. These are cards for an Earth strategy. First off, Equilinx. This card is limited right now and with good reason. 4/3 body, on a Nexus, it can destroy a rune on the field. Remember that Bear Boss we were just talking about? No problem for Equilinx while it's in the Stadium Zone. Faloy Forest. This card is going to be buffing up all Earth by +1/+1. And with the amount of Earth you're going to be re-enchanting on the field, you can make something crazy strong with Faloy Forest. And guess what? Tectorus benefits from this as well. You put Tectorus on the field under a Faloy Forest, this thing becomes a 6 attacker. 2 cards, 6 attacker. It goes crazy. Wait, that's it right? Yeah, 6 attacker. So consider Tectorus. Kind of weak in the defense, Cryoblast kind of bodies it, but it's something to consider. If you just want something to just run out and have a decent body under your stadium room, Tech Taurus is an option. Mudlet, very similar to Eddy, but Eddy is a water Elestral and is 4-1 versus 3-3. So the stats are a little better for Eddy and against Mudlet, but this card can still switch an opponent's Elestral's position, and again, if you're playing it under Flurry Force, it is a 4 attacker, so consider Mudlet. Rummagem. This card can search out any 1-cost Earth Elestral from your deck and add it to your hand. So all of the 1-cost Earth Elestral we've already talked about, Rummagem can find out. It's a great way to start the game, and you can also find Rummagem with No Stone Unturned, an Invoke Rune 2-cost from Moonrise that can search out any Golem Elestral from your deck and add it to your hand. That includes every single Lith in the game and Rummagem. So, No Stone Unturned can find Equilix. It can also find Mudlet. It can also find Barabib. It can find a lot. So it's something to consider if you're just like, I have an extra space, maybe just go for the Searcher for the Searcher. It's an option. With all the Earth you're going to be enchanting onto the field, Divine Blessing is almost free. You can negate and destroy an activated Invoke Rune from your opponent by disenchanting an Earth on the field. I think with what Lifestream is doing for Earth, the conditions are finally set for this card to finally shine. So consider Divine Blessing. Have a strategy or a concept that you're mulling over that I did not mention? Tell me in the comments. There are so many brainstorms that can be had with this. I would love to do it as a community and just start talking about this. But I truly believe that Earth is going to be on the rise and one of the best decks in Lifestream format. So keep that in mind as we get closer to Kissimmee, because I have a feeling Argo is not going to be too far out of anyone's decks as we get into that tournament.